Welcome to Too Fond of Books. My name is Janelle, and May is quickly approaching, and one of the things that I have going on in May is I am hosting, along with Kirby and Awhona, the Global Nurses Month read-along. And so I've already done the announcement video, and I'm going to link to that here in the cards and in the description box below. So if you have not yet heard of the Global Nurses Readathon, then you can find out all the details there. Today's video, I want to share with you my pile of possibilities of fiction books for the Readathon. The Readathon is primarily about reading fiction or non-fiction written by nurses, but one of the optional challenges is to read some fiction where nurses are the main character, or it's about nursing. So I've got a fun little stack here for you that I'm going to share with you today of books that I will possibly be picking up throughout the month. The first is Episode of the Wandering Knife by Mary Roberts Rinehart. This is one of a trilogy of books that she wrote about Miss Pinkerton, but she goes undercover as Nurse Hilda Adams. Episode of a Wandering Knife was published in 1949. The description in the front of my copy: Episode of the Wandering Knife. A wealthy socialite is killed and 3 bodies are found while someone tries to cover the murderer's mistake. The man who hid his breakfast. Inspector Tom Brent plays a hunch to solve the strange case of a strangled woman. The secret. A broken engagement, narrow escapes from fatal accidents, and a carefully guarded secret call for sharp detection work by Miss Pinkerton, alias Nurse Hilda Adams. So what's interesting there is it makes it seem like it's 3 different stories, but I'm fairly certain that it's just one story, so maybe they all end up connecting. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm excited to read more Mary Roberts Rinehart. I also got from the library Fatal Diagnosis by Mary Kittredge. This is the first in her Edwina Crusoe mystery series. Edwina is a nurse. A DNA test can resolve a heated custody battle and reveal a killer. The scandal that shook an obstetrics clinic years ago was shocking. Baby swapping for profit. Healthy infants switched for ill. Babies of unwed mothers sold to those whose own died at birth. A well-to-do couple claims they were victims of that long-ago scandal and that young Hallie Dietz is rightfully theirs. They intend to prove their claim with a DNA test, but the lab technician in charge of the test is mysteriously killed, and suddenly someone with a murderous stake in the results is on the loose. And then Hallie herself disappears. Now Edwina Crusoe faces a daunting task: find a killer and pull Chelsea Hospital out of the media spotlight. But much more is riding on Edwina's sleuthing skills, like staying alive. I believe this is from the 90s. Yeah, 1990. So there's a mystery where the main character is a nurse, so that sounds good. Another possibility here is Murder at the House of Rooster Happiness by David Casarett, the first ethical Chiang Mai detective agency novel. So this one was intriguing because the main character is called a nurse ethicist, which I find fascinating. 2 nights ago, a young woman brought her husband into the emergency room of the Srifat Hospital in Thailand, where he passed away. A guard thinks she remembers her coming in before, but with a different husband, one who also died. Laterate Patalung, for one, would have been happier without a serial murderer, if there is one, loose in her hospital. Then again, she never expected to be a detective in the first place, and now Laterate has no choice but to investigate. And so Laterate Patalung is described as the first and only nurse detective in Thailand. So I'm really excited about this one. I love the quirkiness of it. It has a blurb by Vaseem Khan, who writes the Inspector Chopra series that I love. The title feels very much like the titles of that Inspector Chopra series or the #1 Ladies Detective Agency series. So yeah, I'm excited to dive into that one. I also found The Nurses of Steeple Street by Donna Douglas. I wanted to continue with her other series, but our library just didn't have any more of the books, and so I decided to go with this one, and the only copy I could get was a large print copy, but that's okay. Welcome to the district nurse's home on Steeple Street, where everyone has a secret. Ambitious young nurse Agnes Sheridan had a promising future ahead of her until a tragic mistake brought all her dreams crashing down and cost her the love and respect of everyone around her. Now she has come to Leeds for a fresh start as a trainee district nurse. But Agnes finds herself facing unexpected challenges as she is assigned to Quarry Hill, one of the city's most notorious slums. Before she can redeem herself in the eyes of her family, she must first win the trust and respect of her patients and fellow nurses. So this is historical fiction, sounds really good, and I'm not entirely sure when it was set. It was first published in 2016. Oh, the 1920s. And I believe this is the first also in a series. Okay, and then I've got two more that are on their way from the library but have not arrived yet, so I'll put the picture up. The Angels of Lovely Lane by Nadine Dorries. It's the first in a series. It is 1953, and 5 very different girls are arriving at the nurse's home in Lovely Lane, Liverpool, to start their training at St. Angela's Hospital. Dana has escaped from her family farm on the west coast of Ireland. Victoria is running away from a debt-ridden aristocratic background. Beth is an army brat and throws her lot in with Cecilia Forsyth. And Pammy has come from quite the wrong side of the tracks in Liverpool. The world in which they now find themselves is complicated and hierarchical, with rules that must be obeyed. Everyone has their place at St. Angela's, and woe betide anyone who strays from it. But when an unknown girl is admitted after a botched late abortion in a backstreet kitchen, a tragedy begins to unfold which will rock the world of St. Angela's to its foundations. So another historical fiction, this one's set in the 50s in Liverpool, about nurses in training, so that one sounds really good. And then finally, The District Nurses of Victory Walk by Annie Groves. Again, the first in a series. Alice Lake has arrived in London from Liverpool to start her training as a district nurse, but her journey has been far from easy. Her parents think that she should settle down and get married, but she has already had her heart broken once and isn't about to make the same mistake again. Alice and her best friend Edith are based in the East End, but before they've even got their smart new uniforms on, war breaks out and Hitler's bombs are raining down on London. Alice must learn to keep calm and carry on as she tends to London sick and injured, all the time facing her own heartache and misfortune while keeping up the spirit of the Blitz. So another historical fiction, this one taking place in London at the beginning of World War II. So there you have it. That's my pile of possibilities for Global Nurses Month in May. Have you read any of these books? Have you read any of these authors? I would love to chat with you in the comment section down below. Are you considering joining us for Global Nurses Month Readathon? I think it would be great to have you join us. I will include the links down below to our Discord group as well, where we will also be chatting about the books that we are reading. And I will see you for another video soon. Bye.